Welcome back to our channel. We are Crypto Focus and we are live from Money 2020. And our focus for the past 3 days has not been solely on crypto. We've been focusing on the blockchain, we've been focusing on Web3, Web2, AI, and on that last one, that was our main focus. We were focusing on AI. The underlying message from Money 2020 was Agentic AI. And then when you start thinking about AI, and it's funny, while preparing, I was doing some research on Lorikeet. Robbie told me, what are you doing? Just use Claude. Nobody reads anymore. And it's quite interesting when he says it because that's true. I could have just summarized the whole website and ask Claude, what should I ask Robbie? And that's what comes down to the conversation we're about to have. So you know what to do. Like this video, share this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel so we can keep making this type of content. Lorikeet's booth is right across from us. I'm going to read off the wall. Meet the universal AI concierge that gets it done. How do you make sure to live up to that? First of all, thank you for being here, Robbie.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me, Emmanuel.
You're very welcome. That was a strong, bold statement. How do you live up to that?
So I guess firstly, what is Lorikeet? As you just said, we see ourselves as an AI concierge.
Okay.
Another way of thinking about it is AI agents for customer support. But we use this fancy French word for a reason, which is a lot of people's support feels like you go down to the hotel and you say, is there a great restaurant I can go to? And the person just gives you a big folder and says, good luck.
These are the restaurants.
They don't help you. Exactly. Whereas a concierge experience, you go down, they say, actually, Robbie, great to see you again.
Yeah.
I know you love Italian food. There's somewhere down the corner. I've booked it for you already, and there's a car waiting outside. And by the way, when you come back, tell me what that experience was like.
Wow.
And so that is what a concierge experience looks like. And that is what has been unlocked by the latest technology, driven by the AI large language models, but also very careful what we call harness. And harness is actually a great physical word. That means, how do you take that LLM and all of that incredible training and knowledge it has, but give it the constraints and guardrails that means that you can be confident as a crypto business that you are achieving the regulatory and compliance outcomes that you need. And this is what our customers do in the crypto industry. So folks like Sum, who handle crypto tax, use us to automate, I think last time I checked, some 90% of their queries. And this is complex stuff. Like it's how do you file your taxes with the crypto kind of investments that you have. Or one of our customers, Magic Eden, who's in the NFT space as well, also uses us to actually help their customers drive resolution across the board. So those kind of companies that are complex, regulated, need to be compliant, trust us because of the harness that we've built around the actual large language models that we use.
Now, the evolve, when it happens, it's evolving constantly. AI is evolving. So how do you remain relevant? Because there's going to come a point where anybody using Claude Code with the right MCP or the right CLI is going to find a skill that's going to be able to do what you offer. How do you say, no, we're still the best, regardless of what's happening?
I think the core question people have to ask is, are they spending every second, minute, hour of their day focused on what is the frontier of this technology and where it's going? And that is what our team is doing. So we are consistently evaluating the models. We are consistently experimenting with how you can automate the support queries, but also, for what it's worth, the entire customer lifecycle as well. So not just incoming support, but proactive support. Our team spends all of their time thinking about that. I agree in chat, it's maybe achievable with still a couple of teams to create a really great experience. In voice, any kind of company that its AI agents are not their core focus is going to struggle to create a great voice agent. It's hard work, it's experimental, it's on the frontier, and frankly, I wouldn't recommend it unless you can spend millions a year with 5 or 6 squads of teams, so that's like 20, 30 people, working on this kind of stuff full time. So ultimately it comes down to what is special about your product. So at Crypto Focus, your focus is on media, outreach, all these elements. Why would you want to move away your focus onto something different around providing support? And that's the same conversation we have with Tap Tap Send or Air Wallets, which is their focus is on getting people the partnerships and the technology that's required to get the money to people on time. They don't want to then focus on also creating a whole another product, which is like an AI concierge. So it's like a relatively simple argument once people have tried. We also joke that our sales pipeline is full of people who've said, we're going to try and build this ourselves, and have come back into our sales pipeline. Because whilst it's easy to do a demo in this space, it's very hard, particularly in a regulated and compliant-driven industry, to get this right. And it's going to take people much more time and effort than they expect.
So simply put, you can try and do it on your own, but this is what we do.
Yeah.
24/7. Very well. So obviously, beautiful booth, center, right here, Money 2020. How was the experience for you guys as Lorikeet in the middle of what is the underlying message of the whole event, Agentic AI?
I think there's, Money 2020 has been fantastic for us to meet who are our partners across the board, as well as potential customers and our existing customers as well. And I think in particular for us, we're really focused on digitally native fintechs who are driving kind of in their Series B to pre-IPO phases. And you get a lot of those folks here at Money 2020. I think on the agentic front, I think agentic and probably stable coins are probably like two of the core themes that I've seen here. I actually think we're at the precipice of like what looks like a pretty significant shift, particularly in the UX of fintech, if not like all of the underlying infrastructure and back office work too.
Interesting.
So at the moment, if you open any of your super apps or fintech kind of apps on your phone, you're pressing a lot of buttons, right? And that whole user interface is going to change in the next 5 years. You will simply go onto that app and you will say, I want to do X, and it will do X for you without having to press 5 buttons to make a transfer or whatever it is.
A nice
Maybe
look
even
ahead.
better, it's only, you're actually doing that all from Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, and you're like, hey, what would it take for me to send a transfer? And it
Within
says,
co-work.
Yeah, it just grabs it and does it. So I think that's like super interesting. I do think agentic commerce is kind of interesting, although I haven't seen anyone actually really paint a really pure practical vision of what that looks like.
A ready-made product.
Yeah, I think there's the hints of what it can look like. Yeah. And I think in particular, actually, the infrastructure isn't the hard bit. It's actually the user experience and how it all knits together. But I think there's still, what is different from last year is people aren't just talking about it anymore.
It's
a lot of
reality.
people are in production, trying it out, experimenting, and learning what works and what doesn't.
Lorikeet, obviously, whenever you have AI at the center of what you do, you are moving forward. Quantum is going to be the next 2-3 years. We're going to be talking about quantum here at Money 2020. I see it coming. It's not next year, but 2 years from now. So how do you say that, hey, from my perspective, heading in that direction, what are you preparing for? What are you looking forward to?
I think the main area that we spend a lot of time thinking about is not building a product for where the technology is today.
Okay.
Instead, you need to
conscientiously doing that.
Yes.
Okay.
And because if you were building a product for where the technology is today, we would already be behind.
You're already obsolete.
Yeah, because even like in December, the models changed, and the latest models were way better, particularly at things like task adherence, which is essentially its ability to go step 1, step 2, step 3, which has unlocked significant ability within that space. And so if we had been planning, for instance, around that time, we switched our core product from what we'd call structured workflows, which is maybe what you'd be familiar with. You have a box, it has an arrow to the next box, and you're passing over that information to what we would call natural language workflows. So you are simply just writing out those steps that you require. So it's much more of an easy interface, particularly if you are non-technical as well. And it's a better conversational experience because you don't get trapped in any kind of one of those boxes. You can have a free-flowing conversation. And that was not really possible to do when we actually rolled that out initially. And of course, we roll it out in small ways, experimental ways, but suddenly in December, the technology worked. And so if we hadn't been ready, then we would have been behind the market, whereas what we pride ourselves on is always being ahead of the market in terms of what the innovation looks like in this space.
I hope one of these cameras catches what's written on his hat. No dramas. So as a concierge service, you are saying, hey, we want to make this as seamless, as easy for you, no drama. I love it. So what he was saying just now is very easy to understand. If you are not ahead, you're going to fall behind. There's no point in trying to work on what's happening right now. You need to be working on what's coming, or you will fall behind. That is the premise, and that is the mission and the vision of Lorikeet, and that's why they have been able to remain ahead of the curve. You know something, Robbie? It's the third day. I've sat and I looked at your booth for 3 days, and I was like, I hope I get to sit down with that, and I'm happy I did. It was value-add information. I love the way your brain works. It's like you're the concierge in there as well. Just working at a level that, hey, I'm preparing for the future. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
Oh, yeah, it was wonderful. So, we're Crypto Focus. This is Robbie, Lorikeet, and we were live right here from Money 2020.